Welcome to the Empowered by Design podcast. I am so excited to bring you this amazing and inspiring woman, an interview with Lisa Dente. And I'm going to get into how we connected, why I think she's so inspiring, and invite her to tell us her story. Welcome to the podcast, Empowered by Design. I am your host, Dr. Liz, a hopeful romantic, mom of two beautiful souls, and partner to the love of my life. As a licensed psychologist, I love helping people heal, grow, and shine. I am a love and relationship specialist and owner of Visionistas by Design Wellness Boutique, where we lead with love and empower you to fly. This podcast delivers inspirational stories, conversations, and lessons on the power of tuning in body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit. Following your intuition, seeing the signs, and listening to the whispers from angels. To pursue your dreams in life, work, and love with intentional vision. Share the love, spread the power. Dream, design, deliver. Welcome, Lisa. Thank you so much for coming on the Empowered by Design podcast. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Lisa and I connected because Lisa is a group fitness instructor. And in addition to you have a few jobs, in addition to a reading specialist and also a consultant for Franklin Covey. But the way that we connected is that you are a group fitness instructor at the gym that I attend, and you really kick me into shape. And I have appreciated so much connecting with you in that way that's how we met. And then also really just over the years, seeing the amazing things that you're doing. And most recently, what caught my attention on social media, and then also you hosted the Glow Fitness event to raise money for Rebekah's Angels. So I am going to say, welcome, Lisa, and I'm going to just turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about Rebekah's Angels and what that means and what it means to you.
Sure. So again, thanks for having me. It's crazy to think that I've been invited to be on a podcast, and listening to you say that I inspire you just is really, it touches my heart. So thank you, because that is my main goal and my mission in everything that I do is I want to inspire people to believe that they can do things that they didn't think they could do. So all the different roles I have in my life, that's kind of my main mission. So I am raising money for Rebekah's Angels charity. And the reason that charity is near and dear to my heart is the founder of that charity, Rebekah Gregory. She was at the Boston Marathon in 2013, and she was one of many of the spectators on the Boston Marathon route that day. She was there celebrating her birthday for the weekend and decided to check out the Boston Marathon. She was 3 feet from where bombs exploded, and she lost her leg and has endured 76 surgeries to date. Her son was with her, and I believe he was 5 at the time, and she ended up being a shield for him, and he was protected physically. But afterwards, they dealt with a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder, and they struggled to find treatment specifically for young children who have experienced traumatic events. And the reason that it's so important is that I was one of the runners that she was cheering on. So I finished the race, and about 20 minutes later, bombs exploded. And I didn't know Rebekah then, but I started following her story, and it's been my dream to go back ever since. In order to run the Boston Marathon, you have to qualify, and I qualified that year and ran. And I tried many times with a lot of failed attempts. And she posted that she was looking for people to run on her charity team. And that's how I got to where I am right now. I sent her my story, and she picked me along with 9 other people from all over the country. And we'll be running together on April 17th.
Oh, wow. That is incredible. There's so many layers to that gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. So you were running in the Boston Marathon in 2013 during the bombings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And I know I shared, we have spoken before, and, people will always ask, were you always a runner? You must have always been athletic, being a group fitness instructor. And my story is actually very different than that. I was cut from the field hockey team in 10th grade because I couldn't do the 2-mile run without stopping. And that kind of propelled me forward into just exercising in general. But then running became a passion of mine. And I ended up qualifying, which was awesome. But then it kind of propelled me forward into pursuing becoming a fitness instructor and helping others believe in themselves so that they could see that you can really do anything. It's just a lot of hard work and belief in yourself, and you can do anything.
Wow. Yeah. So you haven't been back. So this marks 10 years from the time that you were in running the marathon, from Rebekah's injury, from the tragedy, trauma that we all witnessed, not as close as you, but so what does that mean? What is the meaning for you when you think of that? It's coming up very soon. What does that mean for you to return?
Yeah, this time, initially after I got home in 2013, there was a lot of guilt because, people were congratulating me and excited for me. And there was a lot of guilt around me feeling so shaken up by the incident when I wasn't physically harmed. I was shielded by a building, so I did not see the devastation firsthand, even though I was just on the opposite street. So you kind of go through a roller coaster of emotions. And when I first found out I was going back, I think I cried for a couple of days straight. Just the emotion of, wow, oh my goodness, this is real. This is happening. And as I get closer, it's starting to get back to that kind of emotional stage where I'm excited. I'm excited to have the celebration that I really wanted to have. I'm excited to kind of take a different approach to it, to really enjoy every step and not put so much pressure on myself to get a certain time. But it's definitely the right way to go back. I think for so long I was set on, I need to qualify to get back. And you can run for charity and say you're going to raise a certain amount of money. But when this opportunity came to be, it just felt like a gift. Other people had said that to me. This is the right way to go back. It's the bigger purpose. It's raising awareness for something that is just so very important. Mental health treatment for anyone that needs it, bringing more light to that, which is a pandemic in and of itself in our country right now. So to really just be able to go back for a bigger purpose, it is helping me heal, and it's helping me reconnect to my why, but it's also, just the amount of money that is being raised, and that the Boston Marathon in general raises for multiple charities every year. People don't often realize. I forget how many $1 million Boston Marathon for a variety of charities. So it's pretty cool to know that there's people that are putting in not just the physical training, but putting in the work to fundraise and to raise awareness for their organizations that they're running for.
Yeah, that is, it's so, incredible. I can't think of a better word for that. And just that personal energy and commitment that you have made to this cause, to raising money for this cause, supporting this cause. And really, I love to hear the where it comes from for you. You're talking about your passion and your mission and your why. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, your why, your mission?
Yeah. So it was shortly after that experience that I got into, I'm a teacher, and we were at the time a Leader in Me school, which is it's based off of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, which is Dr. Stephen Covey's work, and it it grounds you in developing a mission statement. And so shortly after the marathon, I really started to think deeply about, my mission in life. And, I always wanted to do things that helped. I always have been special education, reading specialist, helping struggling students. And my heart always kind of goes towards the neediest and most struggling students. Because I want to reach them. I want them to see success and feel success. I think through the process of coming back from the marathon, it made me realize that I wanted to make a deeper impact. And so being able to work for Franklin Covey and go all over the country in the summer months and train other staffs, I always think of, if I have 50 staff in a room and they have 25 kids in every classroom, that's thousands and thousands of students that I'm potentially impacting. And so I guess my biggest thing has always been to try to make that ripple effect and be able to kind of reach as many people as I can. People will come to the Y, to the gym, and I've had people ask me, but you've always been fit, or, and I tell them I'm a Weight Watchers lifetime member. I, hard work. It's all just hard work and dedication and consistency. And so it's neat to see people who come to the Y and start out, they've never worked out before, and then they continue to come, and I see such a difference in them. And then I know we're going to talk more about how that impacts kind of the rest of your life when you have that physical component kind of in check.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. One of our philosophies here, and I love when I hear other people talk about the why and the mission, because life is really throws us lots of curveballs, and it can be a struggle to keep going sometimes, right? And that is very much part of the mental health, the push to expand the access to services far and wide, and remove the stigma from getting treatment and getting help and having support for mental health concerns. And so when it's hard, when life is difficult, and it's hard to, take the next step, or, get out of bed in the morning, having a purpose, having a passion, having a mission, knowing your why and being able to articulate it is something that we are really in alignment with your mission. We also strive here at Visionistas by Design to help people really articulate that, and then align their actions, align their energy with their values, with their vision, with their mission. So yes, we are going to get into kind of all those different aspects, as we've talked about fitness. And, when we think of fitness and we think of the gym, we think of, our bodies and really that physical fitness. And truly, I know, because I've talked with you about this, we know that that expands beyond just the physical health, right? Of course, we're talking about mental health, but incorporates other aspects. You've said a few times, you've talked about your heart and the emotional piece of life and work, and not just running the marathon, but the work that you do, and the consulting that you do, and the teaching, and the helping children read. All of those things are, yes, based in this holistic view of health. Can you tell, we're going to get into that holistic piece. I am curious if you could give us a little bit of information about, you mentioned Leader in Me. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means, and why that is so important for you?
Yeah, sure. So it's I was a part of a team that brought it to our school. It's pretty broad in the Lehigh Valley. And again, it's Dr. Stephen Covey's work, and the work of a principal from North Carolina, Muriel Summers, who wanted to take leadership principles to students, and teach them Dr. Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but to teach students how to kind of lead their own life. So to get them to kind of embark on what things are important to them, how they can set goals and achieve them, and really instill those habits so that they can have a successful life, so that they can also, master themselves, but then master being able to collaborate with others in this crazy world. So kind of teaching them how to take ownership and leadership over their own life.
Yeah. I love that aspect of being able to recognize the importance of taking that leadership and authority in a personal realm. And then also it goes beyond just the personal realm into that relational realm where the way that you described it, recognizing the importance of helping others and instilling that into all the generations, right? Because they're the ones that are coming up and going to be, continuing this cycle of life. So it
Yeah,
sounds really
definitely.
fun.
And to get them to kind of learn how to, once they've mastered those skills themselves, then they can be most effective with others. So, we know working together is super important, but if they've not yet worked on those skills themselves and being able to kind of take ownership over their own life, without, a lot of times kids will put blame on others, or, he made me or she made me, getting them to take ownership over what they have control over, so that then they can be able to work effectively with others. So getting them to really master those skills themselves so they can be collaborative citizens.
Yeah. You travel and you take the 7 habits and you teach that to train others to continue that ripple effect. You're also a reading specialist. You're also a group fitness instructor, and you're also running a marathon. So tell us a little bit about your approach to training for this upcoming marathon.
Yeah, so lots of lists, lots of lists. I'm a list maker. People will make fun of me because, I'm always making lists and checking them twice. But in reality, it's just prioritizing things. And I'd love to say I do it perfectly. And I'd love to say that it's, smooth sailing. But the fact of the matter is I'm human. And, I always tell people when I'm training them that, like, just because I believe in something 100% and teach it to others doesn't mean I live it perfectly every day. So I'm a work in progress all the time, but just being able to, I think actually having the marathon to train for helps keep me organized in a bunch of other things. Like, we all have a million things due, deadlines, and our kids have things, but being able to kind of just prioritize and organize, and know that you're not going to get to everything in the same day, or in the day that maybe you plan to, but if you've prioritized it, bumping it to the next day is not going to make or break you. So kind of knowing what's important to you and being able to prioritize it is most important. So that's kind of how I've been operating. A lot of things coming up in the next couple weeks, in my life, personally, professionally, with my kids. So it's getting the long runs in has been difficult and challenging, but I'm almost there. I have a friend who actually also goes to the gym that we go to, and she popped in this morning. She's been doing all the long runs with me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Love
and
that.
she's not running a marathon. I said she needs to find one.
She does, because I know who you're talking about, and she kicks my butt too.
I don't know too many other people that would be like, oh, you're running a marathon. Let me run all the long runs
Oh,
with you. Let's get up at 4 a.m. on Saturday and
oh
run
my
20 miles.
goodness.
Um, so I would like to say I would do the same for her if the roles were reversed. But yeah, it's been really helpful because when you have, I think that's the other thing is having a community of support. So
Yeah.
I think I didn't realize how many people truly supported me until I raised $7,000, and I think it was
Wow.
6 weeks, which is insane.
Oh, wow.
I'm now over 8,000, but that's the amount of people that have supported me who are supporting the charity. So I'm kind of like the liaison between the charity.
Mm.
I look at it that way, but so they're not giving me the money, but they're supporting me in this endeavor, which speaks to being able to have a community of support. And I think that's important in anything that you do, like making sure that you're aligned with people that have common goals, common visions, so that you can have people supporting you and cheering you on along the way. Being able to doing it by yourself, it's doable, but it's always nice to have those support people that are going to help you and celebrate when you're done.
Yes. Yeah. So many aspects of this fit into that philosophy that we talked about of recognizing that it's on a personal level that you're doing this, and then also the relational component is that necessary piece of motivation and accountability and support and celebration, and we carry that energy with us, right? So people show up for each other physically, but then also it's almost like you can carry us in spirit with you as you
Yep.
go, because that is also can be just so helpful, right? Like especially when you're like running on fumes and you feel like you can't go any further in all aspects of life. So it's really a marathon. Life is like a marathon, right? We
Yeah.
have to enlist the support of others to help us when it makes it more fun for sure. Makes
Yeah.
things more fun when we're doing it in connection with people, and also to kind of rely on and have that reciprocity.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's been a huge help for me.
Yeah, and also balance, right? So as you're talking about the training, obviously the long runs and the workouts are physically demanding, but you also said, I have a lot of things coming up, so it's not just I'm training for a marathon and that's my number one priority. We already know you have a few jobs and children, and life, and so what secrets or what tips can you share with us, about how do you keep things balanced?
Um, I don't do it that well all the time. But I think it comes down to um, balancing, but making sure like literally everything I do is something I choose to do, something I want to do. And I think when you make that conscious choice to, it's not, I have to run 20 miles this weekend. It's, I get to, I'm,
Mm,
I'm lucky to be able to be physically able to run 20 miles. So when you think of it as, I am choosing to do this, I get to do this. It, it doesn't help with, I think that keeps it balanced mentally. But I'd be lying if I say that there haven't been times where I'm like, I don't know if I can get this done. How am I going to do this? Especially in the last week or two, I think with it coming even closer, and the emotions coming into play of how difficult it's going to be to physically go back to Boston and face the finish line. I think that is adding a layer of emotion as well. But I think just coming back to my why, like grounding myself in why am I doing this? Why, is this still in line with my mission and my vision? And if it is, then it's something worth doing. So then it's just kind of, getting yourself back into balance that way. And again, for me, it's all about planning.
mm.
If I'm planning and I'm checking things off, and then I feel like, okay, I'm good, you know. So I think that helps as well.
Yeah. And that shift in the framework of I'm excited, I'm grateful, right? There's an aspect
Hmm.
of gratitude that you're tapping into to say, I have this ability, my body has this strength, this power, this ability to take me on this run, on this pursuit, on this journey. And giving gratitude, it can be so powerful. A shift, that tiny little shift that you said, I get to do this. I'm excited. I choose to do this rather than I have to. I really want to draw everybody's attention to that, because in our lives we do that a lot. It's kind of can become almost a habit, a tendency that we don't really think about until we pause and say, whew, what am I right now in my life? And I'm inviting the listeners to think about that. What am I in my life right now envisioning, imagining, categorizing even as an obligation that I could use this strategy, this concept that you're telling us that has been so helpful for you to shift into this gratitude of I'm choosing this because it's in line with who I am. It's in line with my soul. It's in line with my mission and passion in life. And I choose to do it. And I'm grateful that I get to do it. So powerful.
And I'm not, it's not easy.
Mm.
It's not easy. It's nice when you have other people that can kind of shift it for you. And I have friends and, coworkers that are able to kind of shift that mindset. So being able to have people in your life that can do that for you as well, to kind of bring you back to that. Because sometimes it's hard, we all experienced where we kind of get into these maybe weeks or days where things just feel very overwhelming, myself included, and having people that can kind of bring you back to that as well. I had a colleague one time say that to me. She said, "You mean you get to?" And I'm like, "You're right." So kind of just having that person that shifts you back.
Yeah.
So it's not all easy, for sure, but it's been a journey for me and
Yeah.
still is.
Yes. And when we look at it as a journey and give ourselves grace and say, I'm not doing this alone, right? We're not living this life alone. We live this life in connection with other people. And you've really highlighted how you have been, how you feel so grateful and blessed to have a lot of wonderful, wonderful supportive people in your life. And that is amazing. One of our themes here, as we talk about the mission of this podcast and professionally what we do at Visionistas, is really helping people understand, as I mentioned before, that holistic aspect of health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, physical health, financial health, and recognizing this aspect of balance, passion, and also confidence, the way that we cultivate confidence in the ability to take on pursuits that can seem so overwhelming, like, oh, I'm gonna go run a marathon. Right? Tell me about how, for you, where does confidence come into play in your endeavors?
I think this is probably an area that I struggle with because I don't know that I always have confidence in myself. I think it's through the eyes of other people that they've helped me to see confidence in myself. I still doubt myself. So I think this is an area where I'm consistently trying to grow in.
Hmm.
I do think when I first decided to run a marathon in 2012, it was, or I guess it was 2011. Goodness, I don't even know. But a friend of mine asked if I wanted to do a half, and I was like, I think I'm going to sign up for the full. I just kind of made this decision. And you don't, when you start to train for a marathon, you don't really think about that distance as one big chunk. Every run you go out and you kind of chunk it. So I think part of building that confidence is breaking things into those smaller chunks so it doesn't seem as overwhelming or unmanageable. We do that for kids at school. And so it's funny because when we plan out, like this weekend, a 20-mile run, we think of it as, okay, we'll go 6 out, 6 back, then 4 out, then 4 back. And you kind of just focus on those little chunks and it kind of builds that confidence. So kind of taking something that's overwhelming you and breaking it down, I think helps. So whenever a task seems overwhelming, just being able to say, okay, well, what can I do now? What can I get done in this next half hour? Or how can I break this apart so that I can tackle it a little bit at a time?
Yeah, absolutely. That is a great tip because it applies to this physically, but it also applies across the areas of life, right? Emotionally,
Right,
or
yeah.
work pursuits, relationships and deadlines and all the things.
Yeah.
When we see the mountain of tasks and mountain of responsibility, it can feel immense and can make us want to say, no, I think I'll pass. But when we have not only support from other people and people who are cheering us on and running with us, but the ability to mentally break it down into smaller pieces, that can be so helpful in recognizing, okay, I'm going out for a shorter amount of time, or I'm going to do this for 30 minutes rather than,
And I think too, like that success, that feeling of success or accomplishment when you complete a task or complete the long run or whatever it might be, like trying to build that in my students as well. Getting them to see that, when you do achieve a small goal, you feel that success and that accomplishment, which builds your confidence to do harder things, making it manageable so that you feel that success to continue to make you more confident.
Yeah, and every step of the way, as you're describing it, that you do that, you embody this. You not only teach it to your students, you embody it and you model it for them as well. And each little step that we accomplish, we feel a sense of mastery, and that confidence then carries us. Okay, I did it. Look what I did, and then carries us to that next step and to the next step, and builds upon each little step to make us be able to climb that mountain.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Even when we started talking about this several weeks ago, that we were going to connect and do the podcast episode, time flies. So it is, as you kind of sit here today and look back over the course of time from when you learned you were on the team, what has surprised you the most, maybe about yourself?
Honestly, I think when I found out and I knew I had to fundraise, the minimum was $7,000. And, I knew I could do it, but I didn't know how quickly support would come in. And it came in so fast and so furious that, my husband and I were just like shocked. And I think it just surprised me in that, not in the amount of supporters that were willing to listen to my story and support me, but to support this cause that, in the scheme of life, everybody's heard of the American Cancer Society, everybody's heard of leukemia and lymphoma, these big charities that have been around a long time. But Rebekah's charity has only been around for, I believe it's 5 years now. It's small. It's still growing, just getting started. In the scheme of life, not everybody has heard of the Boston Marathon, cares about it. And so to be able to kind of spread the word and raise over $8,000, and there's still time to go. I think that was the most surprising thing, is that being able to share and spread the word the way that I was able to do. I think that was the most surprising. Like I knew I would reach the attention of people that knew me then. When it happened, that was the first thing I did, was email and text people that were, key people in my life at that time who went through it with me, who were tracking me that day. And then the news came on. And then they couldn't get a hold of me. So getting in touch with those people, I knew I would connect with the people that it was close to. But I had no idea how wide it would span and so quickly. So that's been really neat to see.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And I love to recognize that we've been talking about energy and support, and when we send our love and support in money, and like commit to funding more access to mental health and mental health treatment, and put it into that kind of monetary energy, it can, there's so many things that it can do, right? So it's a wonderful, wonderful cause. And we're definitely going to put into the show notes links for people who are listening, who are moved by this, by their own, stories and passion and mission, and connect with yours as well to continue to get your donation total even higher. So, but we'll put that in the show notes. But tell us where we can find you, where we can find more about Rebekah's Angels, and learn more about what we can do to send our money energy, our spirit energy, and support to the cause.
Yeah. So RebekahsAngels.org. That's the website. And obviously so many people access things through social media now. Facebook, you can check out Rebekah Gregory. And then Rebekah's Angels also has its own Facebook page. They're on Twitter as well. But I think too, just seeking out Rebekah Gregory and following her story, you can't not be inspired by someone that's endured 76 surgeries from, one day, one moment, one split second. And she's still 10 years later having surgeries to repair nerves and damage that was done as a result of that day. And so when I first met her, shortly after I found out I was on the team, we had a team Zoom, and it was so emotional. Because so many different people on my team have so many different stories. Some were there, some were not. There's one gentleman who is he's a first responder. So his kind of take on traumatic events and seeing them regularly in his life. So it's been just such an inspiring experience to meet her. And it's funny because she's like just a regular person who, she says, I got blown up by a bomb one day and now I'm just trying to inspire other people. No one plans for that or asks for that, or, thinks they're going to literally have bombs explode and then end up inspiring thousands and thousands of others through their story. Because she'll tell you that it isn't all easy and every day isn't great, but being able to wake up and start again and find that strength to be a mom and help others overcome things that they're trying to recover from as well. So I think there were two main people that I followed after the marathon. She was one of them, and the other was Adrienne Hazlitt, who was a ballroom dancer who also lost her leg at the finish line. And those two women in particular, well, there were others, their stories just captured me, and how they, Adrienne ran the marathon last year, the full thing. And so just watching them overcome, I was not physically harmed, but seeing them overcome that physically and emotionally is just so inspiring to me. We have to sometimes, tragedy happens and we start to live our life differently. But one of my colleagues at Franklin Covey always said, you don't have to start living your life differently just because a tragic event occurred. And I think we do that. I think I do that. And so knowing that, if there's something that you've been wanting to do, you can go do it. You don't have to wait for something to change your life or turn your world upside down to go and do it. And I think that's what they try to get across to people, is that you can do anything. They can do it without a leg. They can do it, no matter what they've been through. So those two women in particular have been huge in inspiring me to continue to move forward. They're rock stars to me, which is crazy. When I got the email that she accepted me, I woke my husband out of a dead sleep, and I was like, she picked me. And it's just been really a neat experience.
Yeah. Well, you absolutely deserve it. And I appreciate you so much, just personally, and then also have 100% just been extra inspired even more beyond once I learned about this and got to know you even more on different levels. So thank you so much for sharing this with us, and we will all be with you in spirit. Tell us when the marathon is, and is there a way that we can donate right to your total?
Yeah, so there's the marathon is April 17th.
Okay.
And the link is on my Facebook page, which I'm not sure if you'd be able to share out. So it's through Give and Gain. And you can search on Give and Gain for Rebekah's Angels team. And then all of my teammates are listed underneath, and you can select me if you want it to go directly to me. But
Okay.
it goes directly to the team, but through me to the team. It doesn't really matter as long as it goes to the team.
It goes to the team.
Yeah.
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 Goes to the cause.
Our goal is like $100,000, and I think we're at 65,000. And I believe there's some corporate sponsors that hopefully, I don't think we have a final total on that. So I have no doubt that, we have one of my teammates I think it hit 14,000 this past week, which is insane. So yeah, everybody's working really hard. And it's fun because I've connected with one of the girls lives in Wisconsin, and she saw my fitness fundraiser that we did at the Y, and she is doing a Zumba fundraiser next week. I'm like, I wish I lived in Wisconsin so I could come.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's been neat that way that, I've been networking with people that are complete strangers. And in a few weeks, we're going to all meet together and for this common cause, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. That is awesome. Really, really awesome. Thank you so much. Are there any last minute tips or anything that you want to say or share with us today?
I don't think so. Just that, you never know who you might inspire with your story. And I think to this point, I've never really shared this much about my life with anyone. And I think that this has brought out that opportunity to share and try to inspire people at an even wider level. So, I would just encourage people to don't be afraid to share your story, because you never know who it might help.
Oh, yes. That is a perfect note to end on. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your story with us. I have really felt blessed and inspired and honored to know you and to be one of the people cheering you on in your corner. And we will all be doing that on April 17th. Thank you so much, Lisa. This was great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And the feelings are mutual. Thank you for including me and for coming every day to class.
Okay, well, thank you again, and thank you for listening. Please share this. Please share this episode with far and wide. We want to help Rebekah's Angels and every person to reach their goals, accomplish their dreams, and to support this cause. We are so passionate about helping people receive the support, mental health treatment in every corner of the world. And so this is very near and dear to our hearts. So please, please, please share this episode with your friends, with your family. Click on the links in the show notes. If you have a few extra dollars, send them to Rebekah's Angels, and let's help them accomplish their goals of $100,000. That is so awesome. Thank you, Lisa, and just again, thank you. This was great.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you for connecting on this episode of the podcast, Empowered by Design. For further connection, subscribe to my email list at drliz.com to be sure that you are in the loop for exciting news, events, and resources. You can also follow me on social media at Dr. Liz and at Visionistas by Design. I invite you to subscribe to this podcast and send this episode to one of your people in order to share the love, spread the power. This podcast is designed to inspire, educate, and empower you to pursue your dreams with intentional vision. This podcast is not meant to be a substitute for psychological treatment or a working relationship with a licensed mental health professional. For more information on connecting with mental health resources in your area, visit drliz.com and click on resources. Thank you again for connecting, and remember, trust the heart, work your vision, dream, design, deliver.